Okay, welcome everyone to another Educators in VR Unity Workgroup. My name is Laurel. I am the director and co-founder of Educators in VR. And we have this Unity Workgroup started, I think we're almost to 6 months. No, not quite. But anyway, a few months ago, and we're really excited to have you join us as we dive in to Unity, looking at certifications, looking at all the different features and things to help us build our skills and really stretch our horizons. Now, I'm hearing an it's Endasil's making some noise in the background. All right, so Endasil is here. He's going to be talking about animations in Unity. We're really, really excited about that. But first, I want to let you know what's coming up next with our Unity work group on the please somebody correct me here as I jump forward, it'll be the 26th of June. Dawn, one of our team leaders of the Unity work group, is going to be doing a really special event, sharing her research in how she found, identified which platform that she wanted to invest her time, money, and energy into to showcase her Unity project. Now, this is a hard decision. It's called Finding Home, and it's a really, really tough decision to make. How do you choose? You know, what are the criteria? What are those things that, you know, what's important to you? Now, her list may be different from yours, but it's very, very important that when we make this decision, which some of you might have done and now regret, or maybe you're happy or you're not sure, and this will be a good way to reinforce it. How do you make that decision of where to put your Unity stuff? And especially your worlds, specifically your worlds. That is so important because you want people to see them. You want to bring people to them. And so she's going to be talking about that on the 26th of June, and we're really excited about that.
I'm going to correct that. It's the 19th.
It is?
Yeah.
I have it on the calendar. It is the 19th?
Yeah, Thursday 19th.
Okay, I went too far. Thank you. On Thursday, June the 19th. All right, we'll fix that. All right, so June 19th, thank you. We also have some plenty of exciting events coming up with Educators in VR, so please check our website, check our events page, just subscribe to our Educators in VR Google Calendar so you can keep up at all times on what's going on. Also check out our Discord, Facebook, Blue Sky, visit LinkedIn. We're everywhere, and we're so glad you're here. Now, over in our Educators in VR account is Lance. He's one of the leaders of our Unity Workgroup team, and Endasil is one of their new members. So I'm going to leave it up to you all. Thanks.
Yes. So, Endasil, you may want to unmute, but he is going to be talking about animation and how you can animate characters and things using Unity. So, you want to take it from here?
Yes, let me see here if I can figure out how to share my, yes, there we have it.
Okay, there we go. We see it.
That's done. All right, great. So today I'm going to talk about how we can use this free web server, webplate, Mixamo, to get free 3D models. See, we have over 100 different models here that we can use in Unity, download for free. There are also thousands of different animations here to choose from. You can use them both for the characters you download from here, but also from any other humanoid character that you have in Unity. Something else you can do with Mixamo is that you can, if you have a character or a model that does not have a skeleton, it's a humanoid shape, you can let Mixamo add a skeleton to it. You upload the model here. So then after this, I'm going to show you in Unity how you can use Unity's humanoid retargeting system to add the same animation to different animal avatars. I'm also going to show you how you can set up transition between animations and trigger them from code. I'm also going to go through how to use avatar mask to play multiple animations at once. For example, you may want to walk and wave at the same time without the animations overriding each other. All right, so the first time I'm going to do here is to show how you can use Mixamo to add a skeleton to an existing model. So we go here to upload character, and then I'm going to drag and drop this. This is one I found in Sketchfab, I think. I'm going to drag and drop it here. Right. And it's uploading. All right, here it is. Let's go next. And here we need to tell Mixamo where the important part of our model is. This way it knows how to set up the skeleton. So place this on the corresponding parts of your model. And then click next. And Mixamo will go through this for a couple of minutes, and then your model will be ready. So while waiting for this, I am going to download another avatar here that can demonstrate how to use the same animation with multiple different models. So just go to download here when you have a character you want. And there are some different formats here, but I just use the default one. So I'm going to download this in the folder for my Unity project. I have a model folder in my Unity project. Download it there. I'm also going to download animation. I'm choosing this one because I want to demonstrate some stuff. Let's see, where do I have female walking? Which is called walk. Here we have it. So here you see the character is walking forward in the animation. And in this case, I want to control this by code and not have the animation driving the moment. So I choose in place here before downloading. And then go to download. Here we have the option with skin. So with skin means that you will download both the animation and the model. If you choose without skin, you will only download the animation, and that's what we want here. And here a couple of animations I've downloaded earlier from Mixamo. So let's go back to our rigging. So now you can see this one is rigged and it's alive. Just go next and we will see it here. And I am going to download this to my Unity project. All right, I'm going to drag these two into the scene. You can see them.
And you want to
I'm
remind
going to
people, feel
move.
free to ask questions at any time as well, too.
Yes, please do. So going to move this a bit so it's easier to see. All right, you may have noticed that they are all white right now. That's because per default, Unity does not know how to use the textures that are inside the model. So we need to extract them. So to do this, we go to the model, and then in the inspector, we can go over to material section, and then click on export, extract texture here, and then extract it to some folder in your project. I have a texture folder. And you may get a normal map setting prompt. It just say that it needs to fix this to be able to use it. That's a normal texture. So choose fix now. And then repeat the same thing with the other animator. Extract texture. All right, now they look a lot better. So something else we're going to do is to change the skeleton or rig type or animation type from generic to humanoid. This way, it will be possible, we will be able to use Unity's humanoid retargeting system that allows us to use the same animation on multiple humanoid models. We also see something here called avatar definition. And it's can you just create from this model when import a new model. So let's go in here and show what this does. So the avatar definition here is a map between bones and what type of human part they are. So the way an animation works is that it contains information about how different bones should move. So for example, you can have an instruction say in Mixamo or colon right hand forward, then it knows that it should move a bone with this name forward. But if we use another animation that does not have this bone, it will not be able to know what to do since there's no such bone. So the way Unity has solved this is to have this Unity skeleton. And then it by creating this avatar definition, it creates a map between the names of bones in a model or animation and the generic humanoid names. So this way it's able to use the same animation on different humanoid models by mapping like this. So that's what happened when we choose humanoid. Let's repeat that with the other one. All right. So now I am going to make this animated. So when we choose to have an avatar as a humanoid, Unity will automatically add this animator component. And this one can be used to control the transition from animations. So we have something called controller here that is empty. And to use this, we can create a new animation controller. So just go down on the project, right-click create, choose animation and animation controller. I'm just going to call this animation controller. And then we drag it in here in the controller slot. As you see, we have an avatar here. So that's the kind of the map I was talking about before that contains information about what type of bone in this model belong to what bone in the generic Unity skeleton. So now I am opening this animation controller. So here you see we have something that's called entry. So when a model is, this model appears in screen for the first time, the animation that is connected to entry will be the one that plays first. So if I drag in an animation here, it will be connected to entry automatically. I'm going to rename this to idols to make it more clear what it is. All right, now I'm going to press play and see what happens. So now we see those got in a really funny pose here. And this is a kind of common mistake I do. This is because I did not update the actual animations to set them to humanoid. So I'm going to go in here and repeat this humanoid step. Right, let's see if that solved the problem. Yes, now we see that they are moving, but they stop moving after one cycle. So to fix this, we can go into the select animation again, go to the animation tab, and then scroll down, and we have something called loop time here. Checking this will make the animation loop over and over again instead of stopping after one. I'm going to do this with the walking and idle, but not the waving, since I kind of want this to just trigger once. Right, and now if we press play, it should hopefully repeat. Right. So next I am going to add a walking animation to this. So I'm going to drag this one in here. And now I want to make this one go from idle to walking. So click on the animation you want, right click on the animation you want to go from, make transition, and click on the one you want to go to. And we also want it to be able to stop walking and go back to idle. So I'm going to create a transition back. So now if we only have these arrows without anything else, when it has played the idle animation once, it will move over to this animation here, which is not what we want. We want some kind of conditions to make it start walking. I'm going to just rename it to walk. So the way we're going to do this is go to parameters. So here we can choose different variables. So if we choose float, it is a decimal number that we're going to use for triggering, and I'm going to call this velocity. So the idea is that when velocity is over 0 or less than 0, the character should walk forward or backward. So I'm going to go in here again and set that as a condition. We go to condition plus, and velocity will be chosen as default as it's the first one. We also want it to be able to walk backwards. So for that, I'm going to make another transition from idle to walk. Click here again and scroll down to here, add the condition and less than 0. And for the exit condition, it's not possible to set equal 0. It has to do with how floating point math works. It's hard to have an exact number, so you instead have to choose something very close to 0 here. So for example, greater than minus 0.01 and less than 0.01. Something else we want to change here is we have something called has exit time. So this is, we have a timer here. So once it reaches this time, it's allowed to exit to another animation if we have has exit time clicked. But we normally, when going from idle to walk or from walk back to idle, we want this to happen immediately, not wait for the animation to finish. So we're going to uncheck this. Right, let's see if it works. I'm just set velocity to 1 here and see that it goes up to the walking animation. And the reason you only see one character walking here is because when changing something here, it only affects the selected character. So next, I want to be able to trigger this from code. So first of all, I like to have a parent object for my modals. This way, if, for example, a model has a strange, if I need to rotate the model, create some offset or something, I can do that easily when I have a parent. It is also nice to be able to separate the model from script and other things. You can just switch out the actual model when you want and still have the code left. So I'm going to create an empty parent here. And then I have created an empty script called animation control. So I'll add that and then double click on it to open it. Right. So the component, this one is called animator. That's the component I want to manipulate from code. So I'm going to create an animator variable. And then I am going to fetch it from start. And I am not going to use get component. So we see here the script is on this one. The actual animate is one down. So I'm going to use get component in children to fetch it. Now I need something to use as input, and I'm going to use the forward and back keys to trigger the walk animation. So I'm going to create a variable velocity and input dot get axis vertical. So input dot get axis vertical will take forward and backward on the keyboard, also W and S, and give a value from 1 to 0, depending if you press forward and back. This also works with controllers you may have connected. Next, we want to update that velocity variable on the animation. So I'm going to go animator.set float, and we called it velocity, I think. With big L, yes. All right, and we want to set the value to velocity that we got from the keyboard input. And I am going back to the screen here and see what happens. And I press forward and it will walk forward. All right, something you see here is that I'm just walking forward, but it is rotating. So the reason for this is that some animations have something called rote motion. This is great if you want to have the animation driving the movement of the character, but in this case, I want to have full control from code. So what we can do then to solve this is, let's go to the animations. Then in the inspector, check on the animation. And here we have something called root motion, rotation, position, position. So what we do is choose bake into pose for all of these. So what this does is it prevents the animation from moving the actual game object, So we will only affect the way the animation looks, but it will not actually move. I'm going to do the same for the other animations here. Right, let's try it again. All right, now they will no longer rotate. So something else you may have noticed if you pay close attention is that regardless if I press forward or backward, it will move the same foot forward. So we kind of want it, when going backwards, we want to inverse it so it moves backward instead. So the way to do this is we click on the walk animation and we can just multiply here. So this way you can multiply the speed of the animation with a variable, for example, velocity. So since velocity is a value between -1 and +1, when I press backward, it will be a minus value and it will move the animation backwards, so it steps backward instead of forward. So now you will see that it moves the foot in different direction first, depending on the direction I press. All right. Yes. So the thing I want to go through next is to add a wave animation. So this one I want to be able to use without having connected to a specific animation here. I want it to be disconnected from this. So I'm going to go to layers and add a new layer here and call it wave. Right, and now I do not want to drag in my wave animation directly because that would mean that when I start the game, it would start waving. So I'm going to create a state empty. It will start with doing nothing. And now I want to drag in my wave animation here. I'm going to call this wave. And set up a transition like we did before. And for this, I do not want to transition by velocity, but I want something else. So I'm going to add a new variable of type trigger. So trigger is something that you kind of just trigger once, you press a button and it sets this value to triggered. So add it here and we click on plus here. And you see there is no value to that, there is just something that happens. And again, we do not want to have an exit time when going into this, it should trigger directly. What I do want, however, is has an exit time when leaving the wave animation, since I want it to finish waving before going back. I'm also going to go into code again and have a way of triggering this. I'm going to keep this set for this. So once again, animator and set trigger, since this is a trigger. I think its name was wave. And there is no value to set, just trigger it. And let's see what happens. And we see that it went over to wave, but we do not see any visual result. Is it because you need to configure how much a layer can override another layer? So if we go back to layer and go to wave, and we can increase the weight here to 1. Now you see that it will wave. But you also see that it's completely stopped the other animation, which is not what we want here. So we're going to use something called avatar mask to solve this. So this is something you plug in the mask section of your layer. So I'm going to go down here, right click, create animation, and avatar mask. And I'm just going to call this avatar mask. And then go back here and choose it. And now I press it, and absolutely no difference. So what we need to do then is to actually open this one, go to humanoid, and there you see about everything is green. This means that this layer is able to affect the whole body. But then we can kind of uncheck parts that we do not want it to affect, like the legs like this. And we'll see that it will stop affecting, and we can just uncheck everything. And now it will only affect the arm, and the other animation will play just like before. All right, so that was what I wanted to go through today. Any questions? Anything?
Tessa?
I wanted to see, can this be done with Ready Player Me avatars too, or it's specifically to Sketchfab?
It should certainly be possible to use with for the Player Me avatars. You will need to convert them to FBX models so you can get them into, well, you need to get them into Unity first, but this should definitely be possible for the Player Me avatars.
All right, thank you. This was amazing. Thank you so much for this presentation. It's just awesome.
Thank you.
So, what are all the places that you could like get avatars from that will allow Mixamo to make the avatars be workable?
Yeah, so for anywhere that you cannot need a model that's shaped as a human, and then you can just SketchUp is some common place I get it from. I'm not sure what other places is. Anyone have any ideas? But if you have a model that's shaped like a human, you can upload it to Mixamo, and it will
Even
add
if
a
it doesn't
skeleton
have a
to
bone?
it.
Gumroad?
Yes, especially. Yes, you only need Mixamo, and you only need to upload to Mixamo if it does not have a bone. If it already has a bone, you can just import the model directly into Unity and set it to humanoid. And then you can, if you also have the animation set to humanoid, you will be able to apply it to that model. Since then Unity uses this generic Unity human map to map between the different structures. Yes.
Tessa?
Can we use Mixamo to edit bones in case they're not properly positioned or we don't like them?
No, you cannot edit bones with Mixamo.
I think that's more using Blender for that aspect of actually being able to move the bone around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that gets into more detail behind the scenes type things of like if you bring in an avatar into Mixamo and it's wearing a long jacket, it's trying to do its best to put the bones to how it needs to be. Now, doing so because of the long jacket, if the avatar moves in a specific way, there may be parts of the jacket that will follow a specific bone instead of it sticking to its own type thing. That's when you would have to definitely go into Blender and try to separate that as best as you can. So,
But can we bring it in and add more bones to it or no?
Unity isn't really good for manipulating models. You would use Blender or something like that.
Okay.
Now, I'm curious about how far can the animation go with the humanoid characters. Can they twist their head around backwards? I mean, can you do anything you want? Are there limits?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, anything that kind of works. Not really sure what the limits are.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering at what point does the character, like, at what point would it break is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't really know. I kind of import animations and use them. I haven't really tried to make my own animations to kind of push the limits of what it does.
And is there, as long as whatever it is has bones in it for the rigging, you can animate if it's square or a circle or anything like that, you can still add this kind of animation to it?
It needs to be humanoid shaped. So let's see here if I can.
Oh, is that a limitation of Mixamo or?
It's a limitation of Unity's humanoid retargeting system.
Okay,
so here we have this.
Okay, so it's
different
based on the body
model.
parts. All right.
Yes.
Can you show the bone hierarchy in the animation that shows what bones match up with the animation points? That might answer her question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
So when it comes to the animation, the bones won't actually show up, showing what's being moved around with the animation. It won't show the bones. Now, Mixamo is obviously more connected to when it comes to avatars. So if you want to make an avatar move around, then yes, it has to be humanoid to actually have the avatar's bones be created and attached to the animations, because most of the animations there are dedicated for specifically humanoid avatars. All this sort of stuff right here can still work as well with other objects, like a cube, if you want. It's just you're going to be much more limited on what you can do. When it comes to cubes, you can add a controller and make it so when it moves around, it can either, bob up and down, go left to right. You can play around with that and create your own animation, which is using the key targets in the animator, allowing it to do what you want it to do, and then attach it all just like how he did in the animator window, where it's you push a button and then next thing you know it's moving, or somehow the cube has a hand that waves or something. So you are limited, but you have to play around with it to see what you can and cannot do. But Unity allows you to do quite a bit of stuff that is fun to do. So you just have to sometimes look for it.
Let me clarify. What I demonstrated here was Unity's humanoid retargeting system that is created with the purpose of making it easy to play different humanoid animation on different humanoid characters. Unity has a bunch of other animation stuff that I did not go into here.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions to add upon this? Because trust me, this is really cool, especially if you're wanting to create a game and stuff.
I just want to say, if you try this and have some issues, you can go visit my Discord. It's discord.me/Endasil. And I will do my best to help out if you have issues figuring this out.
I do have a question. We can also add audio to them. Let's say we can have this animaton standing in a corner of our world saying something as they get closer to it, right?
Yes, that's definitely possible.
Yeah, you can add slight animations too, where it's moving around and showing, making it seem like it's talking with its hands while you walk up to it as well too. So
right.
Now, is there ways to make it so the animation can be triggered via like triggers that you can walk into or buttons that you can push to make it so it can move the way that you want it, like activating an animation?
Yeah, from code you can just use this animator.setTrigger or animator.setFloat. So you can control it with code and trigger variables that trigger different transitions.
So with the code, you can probably make it so when someone walks into a cube, like an invisible cube or something, and have that be the trigger, would probably make it so the avatar or that character will wave at you or start moving around in specific ways. But that deals with definitely learning coding, which I hope we'll be doing that soon too.
That's the fun part.
Does anyone else have any questions?
At what level would you say in world building, like beginner, intermediate, advanced, would you classify this? Is this drag and drop? I mean, it looks easy, but you make it look easy. So.
Yeah, I think this is rather beginner level what I've done this for.
Now, I don't know if it's me or it's everyone, but in Engage on headset, they're very blurry. And if somebody wants to really follow this step by step, so my question, would there be a recording that's uploaded in EDVR so we can literally like look at it, stop it, pause, do what you said, so we can actually read the writings?
Yes, I understand it should be recorded.
So it is
Okay.
being recorded right now, but I don't know about it being that
Posted.
clear that you can actually properly see it, because I'm looking at the recording image now, and it is pretty small. So, but yeah,
I wish I had come up PC.
So you can't just record the screen then?
Yeah, and you can always open up your tablet or your menu and see if you can see it closer there as well too. Because if you open up your tablet, at the very bottom there's a spot that says shared screen. If you select it, it brings up what you're seeing on the screen as well too, and that should hopefully help out a little bit better there.
Yeah, just that I have audio issues, so in order not to have audio issues, I came on headset. But this was the worst day to come on headset. I'm so regretting it. Oh God.
Yeah, but
this
I could
was
just
great.
create a YouTube video and do recording of this and upload to YouTube if the recording that has been done here does not work, if it's not sharp enough.
Thank you.
I mean, what are you looking forward to in the next step after this and what you're doing?
I mean, when using Unity, I can now just play around with creating my own game right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have a WebGL game that I'm developing a bit when I have time to spare.
Oh, what's that? Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's so
WebGL,
fascinating.
I mean,
what we've already been able
browser, yeah.
And that is pretty cool, because I even learned some new stuff here too. And when I get to the point of creating the game for the creative core section of the Unity, it will be really cool to make it so my avatar or character that you move around will actually have those animations of idle and then the walking, jumping, and all that other sort of stuff too. Make it more custom made and make it more alive, basically. And that would be pretty cool. So.
Yes, Frankenstein.
Oh, don't tempt me.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Endasil. This was fantastic. Thank you to Endasil. Yeah, this was really, really amazing. I really want to thank you for being here and for being part of the team. And we're looking forward to more from you. So bring us some more stuff. This, I'd like to say, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd like to understand how to add more gaming capabilities to our virtual worlds that we upload to, like Engage or to VR Chat or wherever it happens to be, to really understand not just animation, but looking for other ways to add more interactivity and more fun. So if there's anything with your gaming skills that you're learning, please, we'd love to have you pass them on in the future.
I mean, I haven't spent much time learning specific for Engage or VR Chat. It's just generic Unity stuff, but I'm happy to teach you stuff about the game development in Unity.
Would love it. Would absolutely love it. Fantastic. Thank you again. That was so amazing. I want to remind everyone that now the corrected date, thank you, Lance, for correcting me, on June 19th, 2025, our next meetup here in Engage XR is going to be with one of our leaders, Unity Workgroup leaders, Dawn. She's going to be talking about finding home, really understanding what are the options, what are the criteria, how do you find a place to plant your Unity templates, your worlds, whatever it is, but mostly it's your virtual worlds, especially after the closure of just too many, losing alt space and Mozilla hubs and stuff was really, really hard for so many of us. And so she has gone through and spent the last 2 years really researching, and she's going to share that with us to help us identify what is our criteria for making decisions on where to put our world. So get ready for that next time. And I want to thank Lance here for doing such a great job and leading this team. And Endasil, thank you so much for your great wisdom. It was just really, really amazing. Very
Thank
helpful.
you.
And you made it look so easy. I hate that. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're just going to allow people to chat. And I do want you to also keep in mind that we are working to do a showcase of your work here. So we're coming up with a methodology. So start thinking about your photogrammetry, your Unity, photogrammetry is not Unity, but some kind of Unity projects or templates, and we may be able, we'll be putting the criteria out, and we want to do a showcase to see what you've been up to. So get ready for that coming up soon, hopefully in July. So we'll have the information on it. All right. Thank you, everyone.